Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day wherever you're at, but it's story time. So let's get on to that. Sorry I haven't made any videos recently, I think within like the last week, and that's because I've been a little busy at school. I have to do some service learning project which requires me to go to schools and like teach and stuff, so in short I had to deal with preschoolers. But that's not what this video is about. Surprisingly, this video is actually going to be Destiny related. I know, that's funny as hell to me. A story time about Destiny? Really? This story is about the Red Bull Clash Course. I think I'm saying it right. Red Bull Clash Course. It is a collegiate speedrun tournament. It takes place mostly on PvE strikes like the Fallen Saber, the Shield Brothers, and that Alahul fellow. Yeah, those. For those of you who don't know what speedrunning is, it's basically completing a strike in the shortest amount of time possible. If you're any sort of familiar with my channel, you'll know I play mostly PvP, player versus player. I don't play much of PvE, player versus environment, which is what the speedrunning is all about. Had it been a PvP tournament, you better believe I would have actually prepared for it. But since it was a PvE tournament, we just went for the hell of it. And by we, I mean Famous Purple, Famous Black, and yours truly, the CammyCakes. We met up 1 hour at my house before the tournament. We speedrun as many strikes as we could in that time, kinda got a general strategy going, and we went to the tournament. Here's something important to note about the story. Remember, all three of us are PvP players. We don't even touch PvE, therefore we only have guns that are good in PvP. So we really had to improvise. Not to mention our light level and PvE gear setup was terrible. We were low light and we had no perks that were any sort of useful to speedrunning strikes. We did, however, have 2 raised lighters, mostly because me and Famous Black didn't know at the time that swords were going to be terrible for PvP, and because it's time gated, it takes like an extra 2 weeks just to get a sword. So we would have preferred Boltcaster for PvP, but unfortunately we were stuck with raised lighter. That turned out to actually be a blessing in disguise for speedrunning strikes. Raised lighter has the highest DPS, damage per second, of any weapon. So as long as you get close to the boss and just keep hitting it with the sword, you're going to kill it faster than any weapon. Famous Purple, on the other hand, didn't have any PvE gun. Like nothing. But because the tournament had to be collegiate based, and all of us are local, he was our only option. So remember, he didn't have anything, but maybe an ash factory or something. So the reason that gear is important in speedrunning is because if you have good gear, you kill stuff faster, you get a better time. Even with our crap gear, we're still putting down some pretty consistent times. We didn't think that they were fast though. I'll get back to this later. Our time was around the low 7s and high 6s. So anywhere from 650 all the way to 710. Those were our consistent times. After we got our consistent time, we decided to go ahead and drive 30 minutes across town to the tournament location, which was at some video game bar. That's not really too important, but that was the venue. Before we left, we all loaded up our characters with the most OG PvP gear you've ever seen. That way when we had to pick our character for the strike, everyone's like, holy shit, are they about to go into PvP? Just for a laugh. And of course, when we got to the video game bar, we noticed everyone there, dramatic pause, was a casual. Nothing wrong with that, and when I say casual, I mean a casual to PvP, with the exception of this guy named Fishy Florida. If you've ever heard of him, he's a pretty good PvPer. But I digress. The point of saying that was to say, I've never even heard of any of these people in PvP, and I play a lot of PvP. They play a lot more PvE than I do, that being said. So Famous Black, Famous Purple, and me, we weren't too happy about our odds. We thought we were going to get smashed. So, guy with a clipboard comes in the room, and you know he was official because he's carrying a clipboard. He asks, alright, which team wants to go first? And as Black, Purple, and I look at each other, we're like, hell no, we are not going first. Let's go see what everyone else is doing, that way we know how our time stacks against theirs. Not to mention, we didn't want these filthy casuals looking at our strategy, because our strategy might have been better than theirs. I'm obviously being sarcastic, but that was something to think about. If everyone was watching your strategy, they could just copy it and do it slightly better. So we wanted to go last, or as close to last as possible. So we went, I think, second to last, and we marked down our team on the clipboard. Our team name was Hallowed Knights, just because our school mascot was a knight and a hallowed knight was an enemy in Destiny. So we thought that was pretty clever. We had no idea what the prizes would be, anything like that. We had no idea what the qualifying time was for nationals, or even what the best time in our region was. We were totally in the dark, because remember, only an hour before this tournament did we actually meet up and run these fucking strikes. So as we watched other teams compete, we just sat back, drank some free Red Bull, ate some free pizza, enjoyed life, that kind of thing. After around 3 teams went, we felt pretty solid. We're like, alright, we're not going to get beat, maybe. And then we heard the best news ever. Some guy gets on the loudspeaker and is like, good job, so-and-so's team. They got an 8-minute and 30-second speed run. And me, Purple, and Black looked at each other like, yeah, sure you did. So the guy on the speaker goes, if anyone wants to know, the regional record right now is 7 minutes and 30 seconds. And that's when all 3 of our eyes lit up, and we literally laughed out loud. We're like, oh my god, we're going to regionals. So another team goes, and they actually get the 7:30, or very close to it, like either somewhere under it or just on 7:30. So we were like, alright, finally, a contender. Then another team goes, and another team goes, and then it was our turn. So we had to sit at these big ass TVs. They were like huge as fuck. I had to like, literally, if I wanted to see a drag, I had to turn my head to the right just to shoot him. At least that's how big the TVs felt to me, playing on a smaller TV at home. The room was loud as fuck. So even when I had a mic on, it was hard to give callouts to my other 2 teammates. I'm thankful I brought a headset though, so I wasn't completely deaf. So after syncing my controller, then putting in all my Xbox Live information very secretly so that other people couldn't see my account, because I didn't want them to log on there and, delete my Galahorn or something. After doing all that, I'm logged in, I'm sitting fine. Famous Purple, on the other hand, is getting some login errors. So we had to spend 20 minutes trying to figure this out. I looked at everything. Eventually, what happened is we were told that because we home share Destiny, which you can do on Xboxes, which means I own Destiny, and he is on my same Xbox family. So therefore, he gets to play all the games I play for free, including using my Xbox Live Gold. At a tournament, this is a huge problem. At the time, I was thinking, Bungie, you sneaky bastards. Anyway, it turns out I had to buy Destiny and the Taken King just so he could compete. I mean, it wasn't the end of the world because I was going to buy it anyway, because I didn't waste an hour driving and an hour playing all the strikes just preparing for the tournament. I didn't want that to go to waste, so I just bit the bullet and said, you know what, fuck it. So we all logged into our characters, I got mine ready, and people were like, oh shit, that's some OG stuff. Oh, wait a second, that's Cammy. But I didn't really know at the time if anyone actually recognized me because the room was loud as hell. I already went over this, but just to reiterate, I couldn't even hear my teammate yelling at me sometimes. So we said, alright boys, let's do this. Let's get that winning time. Let's get out of here. Let's get this shit done. We load up the strike. It takes an eternity to load. You know how Destiny loading times are. Finally, we get into the strike. I pull up my Sparrow, and it warps me through the fucking floor. I kid you not. Not wanting to totally throw away a run, I hop off the Sparrow, jump off the cliff because it's the Saber Strike, and load my Sparrow again and take off. I'm not too far behind my teammates to where it would make a noticeable difference, but still, I wanted to be set up and where I need to be to help them. Things are going well. 7:30, here we come. Warsat comes down, things are still going well. We kill everything. We open up the door, and we start speeding through on our Sparrows, through the caves and stuff. That goes smooth. No one flipped, nothing. We get to the room where all the enemies are, and a captain starts teleporting, like constantly, to a point where you couldn't even hit it. It just keeps teleporting behind shit. It didn't even stop to shoot, it just kept teleporting. So, because that captain kill is linked to when enemies spawn, you had to kill it. So we wasted 10 precious seconds there. Oh my gosh, that irritated me. I wanted to restart the strike right there, because you can't prepare for that kind of thing with the shit gear we had. And we planned ahead for that kind of thing too. We shoot a tether in the middle of all the enemies spawning, but because that captain was behind a column, he didn't get tethered, therefore he had the ability to teleport. But I'm going to stop complaining about this because this sounds really naggy in like a no John sort of way. So we continue with the strike after throwing a grenade through that little door. I Titan skate all the way to grab the little orb, come back, no problems. We Titan skate all the way to the boss. Boss spawns. We pull out our swords. You could even hear in the little crowd of gamers behind us, like, what are they using swords for? And we just laugh like, just you watch. Just you watch. Remember, we did an hour worth of strikes where what I'm about to tell you never happened. We swung the swords at the saber, like the giant shank looking thing, after using melting point with our titans. And because we were both hitting them with swords, the shank lifted up, like almost out of bounds, so high that you couldn't even hit him with the sword. We're like, really? Why didn't this happen before? So famous Purple hits him with his rockets, we pop our supers, and we finish him after wasting yet another 10 precious seconds fighting the shank. So the strike ends. We're in suspense because we don't know what our time is. Then the loading screen ends and the results screen shows up. Oh my god, were we salty. 7 minutes, 33 seconds. So with the theoretical mistakes, we should have been looking at like a 7:03, 7:05, something like that. We were pretty pissed, especially knowing the fact that we ran so many trials runs, even without a strategy in place, that were better than 7:33. So the final team goes, and guess what time they got? 7:32. I shit you not. 7 minutes, 32 seconds, exactly 1 second faster than my team. So that kicked us from second place all the way to third. To add insult to injury, we found out that only the top 2 teams in our region get to go to the regionals. And seeing as we're in third place at a local tournament, we knew there was no chance. We didn't want to be assholes and ask for a redo, but of course other teams were like, are we going to do a second round? And after asking everyone, the tournament advisors just said, no, probably not. Not a good idea. No, we're not going to do this. So to say the least, things could have gone a lot better. But let's fast forward all the way to the award ceremony. We got third place. Remember this. So the tournament coordinator goes, in third place, we have the Hallowed Knights. Yay, cheering ensues and so on. We take our place on the podium. We got some cool Red Bull hats. We were happy. That's fine. I'll take that because we came in with the mentality that we might not win at all. Third place, we'll take it. But we're still salty that in practice, we could have theoretically had the best regional time. But of course, actually at the tournament, we sucked. We were terrible. So second place now is getting announced. Announcer goes, alright, in second place we have so-and-so's team. And they get up on the podium. They step off the podium and accept their prizes. What did they get? Oh my god. For their salts, they were given water bottles from the venue. Like actual water bottles. Just search on Amazon sports bottle or something like that. It wasn't even high quality. They were legitimately given water bottles. Meanwhile, we were given Red Bull Battleground snapback hats, which we knew in dollar values was probably more than their silly little water bottles. The way Purple said it at the time was he was like, alright, you guys can be hydrated, but me, I'm gonna look fresh as fuck. Then the announcer's like, alright, so-and-so's team in first place. And they take the podium. All's going well. They get some gift certificate to get scuff controllers or something like that, which is a really cool prize for a local tournament. But we were still laughing, thinking of the second place team. We felt pretty bad for the second place team because, yeah, they got water bottles. Had we been feeling more honorable, we would have just given them our hats. Said, you know what, you guys play better than us, you deserve the hats. But remember, we did so well at practice, we were like, nah, we might as well get something out of this tournament just for getting shit on by the bungee system and the shank and that captain and the fucking sparrow spawning and so forth. We just weren't feeling honorable that day. Not honorable in the bit. So we walk out of the tournament. We get our little case of Red Bull just for participating. That was pretty cool. We're in the parking lot. We're talking about how the tournament went and that sort of thing. And then that team passes us in the parking lot. Just with the meanest, saltiest smirks on their face. But at least they were hydrated. So I'm sure you guys are just as curious as me to see what the national times in the tournament were. I think Holtzman and Mtashed, if you know him, did cast the tournament. So the results were, I think this one team got a 5:58 on the same strike we run. So regardless, even if we did get to nationals, with that 1 hour of practice, we would have gotten destroyed. So in short, it didn't really matter that in practice we had a better time, because at the national level, we sucked. Pretty badly. But enough about me. I want to hear about you. Have you ever gotten cheated out of a tournament win in anything? Whether it's like that stupid stack game at the mall where it's like stack the coins or the little blocks or whatever, and you'd stack them, you'd get all the way to the top, and even though you pressed the button at the right time, it'd still be like, oh no, you failed, and you wouldn't get the PlayStation Portable or whatever little prize was in the door. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, like I said, I want to hear about it in the comments anytime you've been screwed over, whether it's like a test, competitive game, sporting event, whatever. Write it down in the comments. Also, maybe write another topic that you'd like to hear on Storytime. And for those of you who are curious, I do have some footage from the actual tournament.
Alrighty! 3, 2, 1, go!
Alright guys, hit select when it black screens. We can play without sounds.
It comes from the TV, I think.
Yeah, just play without sound all the way.
Yeah, I don't pay attention usually.
Just be loud.
Alright guys, here it is. Oh my god. Stand. I don't get it.
Alright, start taking them down. Remember, lower. You know how to use it. Do not jump. Stay in the orb.
Kill the captain.
Got him. I got the corner. Alright, move the windows. No, you pointed. Nice.
Yeah, well, because I had to, this how, I was, basically, I woke up this morning.
Nice. I haven't played this yet. I'll play the last one.
That's okay. I woke up this morning, and I was like, got it, okay, I've got one more down.
Nice guy.
Yeah, didn't even put 5 seconds.
So I didn't watch the instant replay until now, but looking at that mission summary, it says we did 6:33, so that means throughout this whole story, I was about a minute off on my descriptions of our times, which means that our practice time was actually in the 5:50s, not the 6:50s, which is a pretty big deal considering, the best time in the country was 5:58. So in other words, hey, we might be on to something. We might be looking at one of the best times, which means, holy shit, we could have went to regionals. Now I'm even more salty. For those of you who got to stay to the end of this video, oh my gosh, you get an extra laugh. Because that really does mean I could have been a contender at the national level had we not gone through those minor fuck-ups in the strike. Holy shit. And no, I didn't plan to mess up saying exactly what the times were in the video, because I was just recalling from my memory, and my memory was about a minute off. So, yeah, I'm kind of salty right now, because now seeing how those numbers stack up against the best, I could have been right up there. So yes, I wish there was some way to get rid of this salt, but unfortunately, second place got the water bottle. All I have is this Red Bull hat, and it's not really good to drink water out of, so I'm kind of out of luck. Well, that concludes the video, so I'm Cammy, I'll see you later.